Hey everyone, it's time for another Animal Facts video. Today, I bring you our friend, Forrest Grump. Forrest here is a waxy monkey tree frog. Now, they get their names, waxy, because of a secretion that they can put over top their skin, and then monkey because of how well they climb. So these guys are very, very dexterous, which means they're very good at using all of their limbs. They have opposable thumbs, which actually help them grip onto tree branches, because these guys are going to be spending their entire lives up in treetops. So that also comes to the part where we talk about the waxiness of them. Most amphibian skin is going to dry out really quick if they're exposed to sunlight for too long. So they have what's called semi-permeable skin. It's kind of like a sponge, and so they can secrete water through it and absorb it in. But they also lose water through it, and so they dry out really quickly, just like a sponge would. But waxy monkey tree frogs have a secretion that coats them in a waxy-like substance that protects them from drying out from the sun. And their dexterity, their ability to move their limbs all over the place, means that they can secrete it and then take their front legs and their back legs and coat their entire body in this waxy substance to help protect them. Now, they're a pretty big frog, as you can see. Males are usually 3 or 4 inches, but females can sometimes get up to 6 or 7 inches. They're a very, very beautiful frog. They're easy to tell apart because of this ridge that the ridge that they have on their above their eye, and then that nice white stripe that goes off their lip. Apparently he wanted to get closer to the camera. He jumped right on the phone. So he's got big, big, wide eyes, just like other frogs being nocturnal. This helps them to see at nighttime. But they also have a big eardrum that you can kind of see. That circle right there is called a tympanum. All frogs and toads have them. They're varying sizes depending on the species. But the cool thing about tympanums is that they work like a drum, and they allow the frog to hear calls of their own species. In some species of frogs, they can actually knock out other frog sounds to not hear them at all and only hear their own species. That way makes it easier for them to find mates out in the wild. So just like other frogs, these guys eat primarily insects, and being that they live in top of treetops, it's a lot easier for them to find insects up there. These guys are found in South America, in the Chaco region, so like Brazil and Argentina. They're pretty common, but they are starting to have some threats. Sometimes too many animals get pulled for a pet trade, which is why here at the store we always recommend that people buy animals that are bred conservatively through captive breeding programs rather than wild caught. But also they face a couple other threats. A lot of South America is being burned right now to take the rainforest out so people can make areas for cattle grazing. So every single day, tens of thousands of acres of rainforest are being cut down and or burned by illegal loggers and by farmers. So these guys are losing their habitat. And then, of course, climate change doesn't help their situation either. But at least we have some good populations of them in captivity that allow us to breed them and make sure that we can keep them alive. So even if the unfortunate circumstance of losing their wild habitat completely ends up happening, we'll at least still have some in captivity. But as long as we can continue to do things to fight against global warming and fight against illegal logging and illegal farming, we can hopefully keep their habitat around. Now, these guys also have something very special about them. They also secrete a different type of chemical called diamorphin, which is actually more potent than morphine. So morphine is very, very addictive, and it's a very, very strong type of painkiller. And what we're starting to find is that a lot of South American animals have natural painkillers that they secrete. And so when we can get these in lab settings and isolate certain parts of the proteins in them, we can actually make painkillers that are non-addictive. So there's a lot of benefits to these guys. And I love how much he's crawling around. You can really start to see why we call them a waxy monkey tree frog, because of how good they're climbing, and you can kind of see that opposable thumb right there. So, want your close up, buddy? Or you're gonna jump on the camera again, aren't you? He's so handsome. So, I hope you guys learned something cool about the waxy monkey tree frog, Mr. Forrest Grump here. But also hope that you learned a little bit of something about what's happening in South America with losing all of our rainforest habitat. What many people don't realize is that the Amazon jungle in South America is basically the lungs of the world. They help clean so much of the air and provide so much habitat and affect the world weather. And the more of it we take down, the worse our weather is going to get. So we need to do everything we can to protect not only that habitat, but also its inhabitants. So you say goodbye, Forrest? All right. Have a good day.